A very good afternoon to everyone. This is Shruti Mehta, Assistant Professor, CSE Department, IIMT College of Engineering. I am here to enlighten our audience about a very interesting topic of AI. The topic itself says recommender systems for AI. First of all, I would like to discuss what are recommender engines, what are recommender systems, and how they are blended in AI. I mean, how exactly they are used in AI. This topic is not only essential for computer science engineers, but specifically it caters to every strata of a society, every kind of person who are using AI in one way or the other. So before I take my audience to the topic, I would like to acquaint what is AI. AI, we all understand that it is artificial intelligence. But what actually is AI and how specifically recommender engines are used in AI? This would be the topic of discussion. Now, we all know that whenever our human brain is very it's intellectual, we have this power of using our brains for decision making. But whenever we are using the same tendency, or we are trying to replicate the kind of intellect which we have onto our machines, we are making them smart. So this is AI. AI is nothing but when you are replicating this kind of intelligence into the machine. That is why the name artificial intelligence. You are replicating the intelligence which you possess, which humans possess, into the machines. Now, coming to the topic, what are recommender systems or recommender engines and how they're used in AI? We can term recommender engines as like it is a set of software tools and techniques that are used commonly that provides recommendations to the users. Now, what kind of users? Basically, this recommender engines are used on e-commerce portals to a major extent. Largely, these are used on e-commerce portals. You might have come across many movie recommendations coming to you when you are watching a movie on Netflix or other platforms like Amazon Prime, and there are so many OTT platforms available these days. So we can in a very simple manner, we can put it like that this it may be defined recommender systems or engines are nothing but a set of tools, a set of software tools and techniques that provides recommendations to the users for certain items. Now, these items, maybe the user is interested to buy these items, watch the item, maybe watch a video or listen to music, and likewise. So when these recommendations are popped up onto your screen automatically, this particular system which is at work, it is referred to as recommendation system or recommendation engine. And it's a process, right? The things that are looking very simple to us, they are intricate within, and a whole process follows. So as you can see on the screen, I have tried to, just give you a very few glimpses and a very basic definition of recommender systems. They are technologically proxy for a social process. We can also call it like this. Recommender systems are a way of suggesting like and similar items and ideas to a user-specific way of thinking. Now, this point needs to be understood well, that what actually is happening. The recommendations are coming or being suggested to you based upon your likes. What kind of interest you have, what kind of content you like to view, you like to watch, you like to buy. So based upon that, the intelligence is being worked upon, your data is being analyzed, and hence the suggestions are being given to you based upon your interest only. So hence like and similar items and the ideas to user specific way of thinking. User specific way of thinking means it might be that one suggestion which is being given to you, a recommendation being given to you, is only for you because you are a different user, and maybe your friend or your family member is getting a different recommendation because his interest or her interest are different from yours. like we can take one very good example here, that whenever we go and review a movie, then the kind of movies that are recommended to you, or to some other family member of yours, they are different. Why? Because the choices and the interest will vary from one person to another. So based upon this, the recommendations differ. But what is at work? The system that is behind this whole thing is recommender systems, and it is behaving intelligently. Hence it is being used in AI, because it is further aiding the entire process. I hope this definition makes some sense, and I'm able to bring out the definition of recommender systems. Now there is one more point which is there in your there in the slide. Recommender systems try to automate aspects of a completely different information discovery model. Actually, it is doing that only. It is trying to automate the aspects of a information discovery model. Now, to understand this point, let us take another example. Suppose you are interested to, to buy a particular product. Let us say you want to, you are exploring an e-commerce site, and you are interested to to buy a watch for yourself. So what is the first and foremost thing that you are going to do? You will go and you will survey the models that are available, if you are very clear what kind of item you want to buy. Now, you must have seen that after you visited certain models, certain configurations, be it a PC or a watch, anything you are interested to buy. So after some time, the website recommends you certain products based upon what you are viewing. In the bottom, it is written few suggestions, few recommendations, or you might be interested in. These all are nothing but a valid example of recommender systems or engine at work. So it is helping you into the information discovery model. Now, there is one very important point that we should not be ignoring at this point. We all know that information overload is a major problem. We all are living in digital era, and we know that information is overloaded everywhere. So, and we don't have time, right? We all are busy in our lives. We don't have that much time to figure out, and spend a lot on surveying something. So if we get some recommendations or reviews about a particular product, about a particular book, or any related stuff that we are looking at, then our job, our task is simplified. So this way, information overloaded problem is tackled very well with the help of recommender engines or recommender systems. So hence, just a minute, please. Okay, so now the next point that I would like to take further is to explain you very well is, as you can see on the screen, there are two users. I have named them customer A and customer B. Okay, so the customer A is buying Metallica CDs, and let us say he's buying Megadeth CDs. Now, customer B does the search on Metallica, the same, but the recommender system suggests the second type of CDs also to customer B based on the data collected by customer A. Isn't that so? The same kind of things happen with us also. The customers who have bought previously the items, they help in building the recommender engine. Why? Because they have submitted or they have bought certain products and they have given the feedback. So the system is analyzing the data from all set of users and is able to figure out what would go with the likes and dislikes of the next user. So this is nothing but a recommender engine at work. So what is the motivation for recommender systems? I like this book, you might be interested in it. Isn't that so? This particular thing is the biggest motivation for developing a kind of system that is foolproof, to give you recommendations, to suggest you what is good for you, what is bad for you, what you might be interested, what might help you saving little more time. So I saw this movie, you will like it. We keep on doing the same stuff every now and then. That I like it, I like this movie, you will also like it. So what you do, you recommend it to your friends, to your family. Oh, I have just seen this movie, you also need to go and watch it. Why? Now this recommendation of yours from a friend or a family member, doesn't it instigate you to watch, or to watch that particular movie? Why? Because you have heard or you have received the recommendation of that particular movie or a book or any other product. Don't go see that movie. Now the third kind of thing is a negative review, right? Don't go see that movie. Why? Because the person who has given it, he has analyzed that movie, he has analyzed that data, so he thinks it is not appropriate, right? So the kind of suggestion that comes is a negative suggestion. So all these suggestions are a motivation for building a kind of system which is being used enormously in all the e-commerce portals, or not only e-commerce portals, across all websites, and we are using it knowingly or unknowingly. Now you come to know what kind of things are actually at work when you see these pop-ups. Now, there are further motivation aspects also related to this kind of system. Many of the top commerce sites use recommender systems to improve sales. This is the biggest asset of using a recommender systems. And you will be surprised to know that even these top commerce sites like Amazon, to name a few, Netflix, they are actually increasing their sales by using such recommender engines, right? So it is a beneficial beneficial process that is being adopted, and it is saving on time also. Users may find new books, music, or movies that was previously unknown to them. This point I have already covered before also. So this says that as a user, if we are interested to read a particular book, okay, that is new, and we do not know that that book is out, but when we have certain recommendations on our screen that you must buy this book, or you must watch this movie, listen to this song, then automatically it will help you strengthening, right? So this is a motivation behind recommender engines. That is why they are actually in a place. Also, can one find the opposite? For example, movies or music that will definitely not be enjoyed. This also is served well by a recommender engine. The things that are not enjoyed by many of us, they will also be recommended. Many of us always give our recommendations once we are done with our movies, right? Once we are at least done with our task of reading the book or buying a product. Don't you, many of us, I'll say, not each one of us submit or give recommendation or review, but many of us do leave a feedback, or the kind of experience we have after reading a book, or after watching a movie, or after viewing a particular video lecture. So we can always do it in our comments. So all these data is actually filtered, analyzed, and hence a stronger recommendation system is reinforced into place. So now the next point that is to be discussed is where actually recommendation systems are used. As I've already told you that e-commerce sites use this tool to suggest some other items a consumer may want to purchase. To understand this point, let us say that you again visit a e-commerce site to purchase, let us say, a commodity, a product of your interest. Now, that particular e-commerce site will definitely tell you some other items that you may be interested to purchase along with the already bought item. So, why? Because that combination is always purchased by many number of customers before you, or based upon your analysis of the data, the kind of likes you have, those are analyzed and a suitable product is recommended to you. Now, what is the benefit of this recommendation? The website is able to increase the sale, right? The e-commerce is definitely there to increase the sale. And for you as consumers, end users, your time is getting saved, right? Because you don't have to hunt from all the information that is scattered. The information overload problem is taken into consideration, your time gets saved, and you get good recommendations for a particular kind of product. Then the second thing is web personalization. This is also one very good aspect related to your recommender engines. Now, the next thing is ways it used. Recommender engines are using certain ways. Surveys filled out by past users for the use of new users. You must have observed this thing, all the audience who are watching me right now, that many a times, e-commerce sites or organizations or all these websites where we are like majorly focusing on e-commerce portals right now. The discussion is, narrowing down to that, but it's not limited. So you must have seen that many a times surveys are filled out, right? So these surveys from the past users help you tell what kind of information is there for new users. It is kind of a feedback that is received by, let us say, n number of users who have used a particular product or watched a particular content before you, and they have filled a form which we call a survey form, and which is working as a recommendation for a new set of users. So from that data, some new set of recommendations can be retrieved, right? So the second is, we can also use it in search style algorithms. It is definitely being incorporated through recommendations. We are trying to narrow down our time, and our search is getting more and more refined. So definitely search style algorithms, it is the way it is being incorporated. Then genre matching. Genre matching means what kind of content which you are looking for, is it matching, and the same kind of recommendations are being like showcased to you. They are being popped to you on your screen. The last point in it is past purchase querying. Now, what does it mean, past purchase querying? The queries which the earlier customers or the users have regarding the past purchase of that particular product. Now, those are taken into consideration, they are being analyzed, and then they are being reflected to you, so that the new recommendations are more and more refined, right? This is basically the process how it builds. Or it can also be like this. It has two aspects basically. The first aspect is this, which I just told you. The second aspect is what you have bought in the past. So based upon that, the content, this is called basically content based filtering. What content you have already bought, based upon that the fresh recommendations are provided to you, what you might be interested in. Then the next is recommendation system types. This is somewhat very, very important for all of you to understand. there are certain types of recommendation systems. Having said what are recommendation system, having understood how it is being used, what are the ways behind it, the next kind of approach that we need to analyze, or we need to, enlighten about is how recommender system, what are the types of recommender system. We have been using recommendation system all throughout, unknowingly or knowingly. Sometimes we know that, okay, this is a recommendation engine, but what kind of recommendation type we are using, that we'll come to know. So basically there are, as you can see on the screen, collaborative filtering, the first kind of recommender system type. What is in collaborative filtering? As the word suggests, collaborative means when we aggregate, when we integrate certain users' preferences and recommendations and build up and try to build or pass the recommendations to other users. Now, this is like you are trying to integrate or collaborate the responses achieved by a particular set of users. Usually social filtering, social media platforms follow this approach a lot. You might have seen on FB, on your Instagram and your other, social filtering platforms where where similar set of suggestions are floated to you, like links of attending an event, or maybe similar friend suggestions. So based upon that, this kind of collaborative filtering approach is being used. Now let us see what it says. It says aggregation of consumers' preferences. We are aggregating the preferences from the consumers. Now consumer is not one. Since we are referring to social platforms, there can be a number of consumers. So what we are trying to do is we are aggregating those preferences given by the consumers, all those recommendations to the users based on a similarity in the behavioral patterns. Now, based upon those recommendations, we are floating the recommendations to the other set of users who have a similarity in the behavioral patterns. For example, if one user likes to watch a particular kind of content, so the other user also who has a similarity in the same kind of thing, he will be given the same kind of suggestion. So this is something when we say collaborative filtering, or these recommender systems are referred to as collaborative filtering recommender systems or engines. Now, the next point, the next type is content-based system. As I already told you, content-based system means what kind, now here the filtering is basically done on the basis of content. What content you have already purchased, lined up in your cart, based upon that, the filtering mechanism is taking place. Now, the important point here is supervised machine learning is used, which introduces a classifier, right? That helps in discriminating what is the interesting item to you and what is the item that the user might not be interested in. So based upon the kind of content that already a user has purchased, now whenever the filtering revolves around the content added by the user already in his or her, before checking out the cart. So based upon that, this kind of recommender engine is working. So we can say that this kind of recommender system basically is involving a supervised machine learning, right? And it is inducing a classifier also that helps in discriminating what are the choices the user might be interested in and whatever the choices the user might not be interested in. Based upon that, and this recommender system is at work, right? Now, the third kind of recommender system is knowledge-based system. Now, knowledge-based system means it is a system, recommender system, which is capturing the knowledge about all the users and products which are used to reason what meets the user's requirement. What are the user's requirement? What is the knowledge of the user? And what are the kind of products that that particular user might be interested to buy? So all that data is accumulated, and based upon that, a discrimination tree is constructed, and we also make use of decision support tools and CBR into it. Okay, so this particular kind of recommendation system relies upon these approaches or aspects, we can say. So major types of recommendation systems are these three. The first is collaborative social filtering system, we बोल देते हैं इसको. Second is content based system, and third is knowledge based system. I hope it is clear so far. Now, content-based collaborative information filtering. Now, content-based collaborative information filtering. What it is taking, the relevance feedback. Now, the feedback can be positive as well as negative. Feature selection. Feature selection means when you are removing the non-informative terms. Certain terms we don't require, but we keep on. So this is like abstraction. You are just extracting the relevant details. That is feature selection. Then the third is learning to recommend. Agent counts with two matrices, or for successful, let us say the recommendation factor, we give a number to it, 1 to 5 or binary. So the learning to be recommend. So this is how we can construct a matrix based out of this. So these are few examples, like Amazon.com, books, movies and music, cdnow.com for music, eBay for anything, reel.com for movies, Barnes and Nobles for books. You will find n number of examples related to recommender engines, how they are at use. These are just a few to cite. Now, there are certain problems also that recommender engines face. Now, what is that? The problem is weak algorithms, poor results, and information overload is definitely a problem. We cannot forget that. Then there is lack of data. Privacy control is another big aspect that is linked to recommendation systems. Also, we need to find users to take the feedback survey. Not every user fill in the feedback form. So we need to find the users who will potentially, fill that feedback survey, so that it helps in building the recommendation engine. And also sometimes we have inconclusive user feedback forms. User do fill the feedback forms, but nothing we can conclude. So it is as good as if the user hasn't filled the form. So all these problems are associated with recommender engines, but definitely these all problems can be addressed and can be taken care of. Now, this is also one aspect that before I end the session, I must take this: maintenance. Maintenance it is costly. It is not an easy engine to be, to be put to practice. So it is definitely, it has a high maintenance. Information becomes outdated very early. We are living in the digital era. Information overloaded is definitely a big task, but information becomes outdated is equally at par. So this is a problem with this kind of system. Information quantity, it is same like information overload. We have large disk space expansion. So all these issues are there that are there with recommendation systems. Then the last point, the future of recommender systems. The future of recommender systems is how, now this I would like to leave it to all of you. Whatever is written in the slide, apart from it, what you feel would be the future, you can drop in your suggestions as comments in this lecture link. Okay, so we can integrate community with recommendations. This is my take on the topic. So I think we are almost up with the time. last point I'll take, recommender systems will be used in future to predict the demands of products, enabling earlier communication back to the supply chain, apart from increasing the sales of e-commerce. And the future is really, really very bright for recommender systems, as each one of us are actually using it, right? So thank you very much. These are few references. If you want, I can share certain papers also on this link for all those who are keen to understand or to delve into this topic. That's all from my side. If any questions, you may drop in the chat box. Thank you.